Well, Shabbat Shalom. I started seeing articles pop up on, my various news apps on my phone. I'm sure you have your own. Probably about a month ago, I started seeing these particular ones. They had these kind of dire headlines. What to do about the holidays this year. You see stuff like that? Or how to enjoy the holidays in a pandemic. Or, this one made me really sad, cancel Thanksgiving. Which is really, and I was having this kind of weird experience, but I think actually really all Jews are having this particularly weird experience right now because we are watching the greater world, the Christian world, really, grappling with the first time this fact that this holiday period, starting with, Thanksgiving and going through into December, this holiday period, which for them is, the holiday period, one might even say it is their high holiday period, for our friends, it's not going to look like it did last year. And this is a whole new concept for them. It's not going to look like the way it did in previous years. It's not going to look the way it's ever looked before. And so it feels unthinkable to them to not do Thanksgiving or Christmas the way they always have. Packing up the whole family and going to grandma's house because she always does Christmas dinner, or hosting everybody at their house because they do, Thanksgiving dinner or, breakfast on Christmas morning, all that stuff. It's unthinkable to them not to go to church on Christmas. It's Christmas. And for a lot of them, that's the one day a year that they go. And, many of us do that too, so we don't judge. I've seen so many articles, and they become more and more numerous the closer we get. Hearing chatter from my friends, stuff like, what, so you do a Zoom Thanksgiving dinner? What? Stream church services? What does that even look like? Not have Christmas parties? How does it even feel like the holidays, they ask, like Thanksgiving or like Christmas? Maybe we should just cancel them this year. Or maybe just risk it. Maybe just do it anyway, because if we can't do the holidays the way we always have, I see people say this in some places, I see them say this, for as long as anyone can remember, if we can't do it that way, are we even living our lives anymore? But for us Jews, though, these kinds of conversations, this reckoning, it's a little deja vu. Doesn't it feel like we've been there, We've already celebrated our high holidays. In fact, we've already celebrated all of our major and popular holidays. Passover, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We've celebrated all of them already in the pandemic. We've had the conversation, what does Rosh Hashanah even look like if you can't go to Bubby's house for dinner? And what even is Yom Kippur if we don't do Nila in the shul and it's like the hundreds of kids with the glow sticks, and break fast at your friend's house? We've had is the Passover Seder even worth doing, if your dad doesn't lead it? My friends, for the first time, we've had this conversation already. They go, I don't even know how to lead a Seder. I don't even have a Haggadah. What am I supposed to do? We've had the experiences, the very different experience of high holidays on a screen. You're having it now. Of seeing Grandma and Grandpa, but on FaceTime or from a distance. Of trying to make, the best version we can of our mom or our mother-in-law's matzo ball soup, and it turned out fine. Is there anything, with all the experiences we've already had, anything that we can say to our Christian, to our American friends and neighbors right now, as a people who have seen and felt the rhythm of our cultural and religious life completely upended? I think so. We can say, and this sounds like too simple, but it's actually really important, we can tell them, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You'll be fine. That we know that it feels bad, because it does feel bad. It feels bad. There's no way around that one. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. It's a loss, really. It's a loss, and because it's a loss, we have to grieve it. We did. We grieved Passover not being the same and high holidays not being the same. You have to grieve the big stuff, you have to grieve the little stuff that changes, the stuff that went away. When you adjust your culture or religion to life under the pandemic, and you have to give yourself space to be sad about that. We did that. We did that already. And then you readjust. And it seems unthinkable beforehand. Think back for us. Think back for yourself. Did you ever imagine Rosh Hashanah dinner being the way it was this year? High holiday services, the way you experienced them this year? Passover Seders. If you had told me in 2019 that I would give sermons on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur to essentially 900 empty seats, or have an iPad and a ring light behind me and, set up at my Seder table at Passover, or any of the adjustments that we all had to make to our cultural and religious lives this year, I would have just stared at you, dumbfounded. All those adjustments and changes and some losses, yeah, we dealt with them, and they seemed insurmountable until we did them. But we did, and we came out the other side. Because part of our wisdom as Jews, I think, comes from being part of an ancient religious tradition. This is true whether your 23andMe says you're 99% Jewish, or whether you yourself just joined us. It's true for all of us. We are all inheritors of thousands of years of Jews doing Judaism, and often in extraordinarily difficult circumstances. So when we adjust and shift and adapt and even temporarily give some stuff up, we know we're going to be okay. We know that our Judaism, we know that we ourselves are strong enough to survive it. We know as Jews that culture and religion are strengthened by our rituals. We Jews love a good ritual. I think that's why we have so many of them. We're literally doing one right now. We are a people rich in ritual life. But the only reason Jewish people have survived 4,000 years, is because we know that our identity is enriched by our rituals, but our identity is not just our rituals. The things we do, the way we do them, and even who we do them with. And that when the occasion calls for adaptation, especially in the name of literal survival, you do it. We did. And here we are. It's literally something we've always done. Like I said, in 1944, a large chunk of the Dutch Jewish community was imprisoned and they were starving in Bergen-Belsen. And on the first night of Passover, they wrote a prayer. That text of what they wrote in Bergen-Belsen survived to today. And it says, God, you know that we desire to observe the Passover holiday and the commandment to eat matzah and avoid bread. But, it goes on to say, we find ourselves in danger of our lives, of starving. And so we are ready to fulfill your commandment, chai bechem, and you shall live by the commandments and not die by them. And to observe the commandment, shmor nafshecha, protect your life. And it ends by saying, therefore, God, our prayer to you is that you keep us alive and sustain us, so that we may observe your laws, your rituals, your customs and traditions, and serve you with a full heart. Amen. And then they ate their meager ration of bread on Passover. Those were Jews who, strictly speaking, did not actually follow Passover that year. There was no Seder, no shankbone, no maror, no haroset, no 4 glasses of wine, and they ate bread. That's the one thing you're not supposed to do. But their Jewishness lived on. Their following of Jewish values, of living by the commandments, of protecting your life, lived on. Because ultimately, those things were more important than all the other rituals. And they still are. As Jews, we know how to adapt, how to survive, and how adaptation to a frightening situation seems unthinkable until you do it. And sometimes, and I've said from literally this bima, I'm not a glass half full kind of gal, but sometimes there can be unique silver linings to these adjustments. Seder was weird this year, right? Seder was weird this year, for sure. Seder was special. But I got to have I don't know, 100, 150 parents and kids around my Seder table in my 2-bedroom apartment. And then 45 minutes later, young adults and young professionals. And the cleanup was a breeze because they were virtual Seders on Zoom. High holidays, right? High holidays was weird. It was weird this year, for sure. Empty seats, like I said. But we reached people all over the country, everywhere. I got emails from everywhere, all over the world. That's wild. And I have been told, I didn't have this personal experience, but I've been told that it is a unique pleasure to observe High Holiday services sitting in your pajamas, in your bed, I think we heard about it, that many people did enjoy. Our Jewish community felt smaller to me this year, but also a lot bigger. And none of that would have been possible. None of it would have been possible if we had not had our Jewish world turned upside down and forced us all to adapt. So to our Christian and American friends, daunted, and rightfully so, by the thought of Thanksgiving, of Christmas, without the usual rituals and the usual customs, or with very severe changes, we can say to them, it's okay to be daunted. That's fair. We were daunted too for our biggies. And it is sad, and you have to let yourself be sad too, not to do stuff the way you always have, not to do stuff the way you want to. But you can do it. We Jews already did it, and we're going to do it again this week. It's going to be Zoom Thanksgiving in my house, and in a lot of houses. Or it's going to be, a small, outdoor, distance Thanksgiving dinner. Thank God for good Houston fall weather. We are lucky. It's going to be different this year. Americans, Christians, it's going to be different, but we got through our big holidays, and you will too. And maybe, just maybe, it's possible, you might even find some unexpected upsides if you keep open to seeing them. I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and a safe, a healthy, and a very thankful Thanksgiving. Shabbat Shalom.